All right, welcome to the block. All we're gonna say now is hot. The block is hot in the sporting. The streets are hot in this sporting world. There's a lot going on. Darnell and I talked a little bit about even before the show. It's like so much to cover. So we might I think we're gonna flow this one. So how you doing, Darnell? How's it going, man?
I'm doing great, great as always.
Man,
Um,
it's like a hot sports gumbo, man. There's so many places to start and begin. We all like petty, so let's start with, as Shaq would say, petty white. Let's start with the pettiness. We got Nick Saban in these streets, and when are these coaches going to understand the old days of the gatherings with the boosters, as if this is a secret meeting? Those days are over. There's no such thing in the coaching off season when you're gathering and traveling around to those faithful communities that what's said in there stays in there. Like, what are folks gonna like get that and understand it? But nonetheless, I mean, Saban goes Saban, as I would always say it. I mean, it's not the first time we see it. He talks about the fact that Texas A&M is buying players. He takes a shot at Jackson State, young man Hunter, and making a decision, top recruit, making a decision to go to Jackson State. Really trying to the system, and then our man Jimbo Fisher. This is why I like Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher is like, I'm not gonna have it. Jimbo calls his own press conference. I don't know if he talked to the chancellor or anybody else. He just said, "Give me a camera and a mic," and he goes all in. That's all the stuff I love. Man, I know you've been paying attention to this stuff for a long time. Uh, what were your thoughts when you saw this stuff beginning to unfold?
I mean, at the end of the day, well, my first thoughts is everybody's doing it. I mean, it's just the
Yep.
way. That's the way of the world, like Earth, Wind, and Fire used to say. But well, just like Dion said, just like Jimbo said, like if you really want to go there, it can go there. I mean, uh, how do you think Alabama? How do you think Nick Saban got the number one recruiting class in I think it was '08 after a 7-6 season in the first season of Alabama. Like, I mean, you got to read between the lines there. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he is a great recruiter. I mean, they do put a lot of work in, but there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that and I know some stuff that I'm not gonna say really, but like Dion said, Dion used to work with the Under Armour All Americans, the game, So he has connections with a lot of these kids before they even committed to their school. So he knows what's really going on behind the scenes. So he knows where the bodies are buried, and like he said, you barking up the wrong tree. And Jimbo Fisher is look, Jimbo Fisher. A lot of people forget he coached with Nick Saban in the past. So he's been a part of that coaching staff. He's seen everything that goes on behind the scenes. So like they said, like, hey, we're not the only ones doing it. And now it's legal. Like, really now with the NIL thing, well, really today in today's college football landscape, there's no such thing as the NIL name, image, and likeness. That's really a blanket, or that's a cover for what's really became pay for play in college sports. They name it name, image, and likeness, but that's the bigger aspect that Nick Saban is really trying to get at. He's trying to say that name, image, and likeness is really supposed to be name, image, and likeness, like Bryce Young. Like Bryce Young, he committed to Alabama, and then he got an endorsement deal with Gatorade. He has his commercial, and now he's benefiting from his name, image, and likeness, and getting compensated for that. And the distinction that he's bringing up is, other guys, they're just flat out, the boosters are making, the boosters are paying these players, and they're not really, like Bryce Young, he's representing, you know, Gatorade, and you have other players that do commercials and endorse certain products and stuff like that, and you can see where the benefit would come from. But like some of these guys, they just say, we're your partner with us, and we're just gonna give you $100,000, and they never really it's really a cover, and that's where I think Saban is coming from. But to put it all together, like we all know, we all know what goes on, and is that's just the way that college football is going on, for the time being until some more rules are put into place.
But I mean, the thing about Saban, people are complaining. Saban's got all these analysts, all the loopholes, all the stuff Saban does. Like how many? Like he creates new categories in his office with ex head coaches called analysts. Like he creates all these different positions. Like he's been on the front line of I'm going to find the loophole. I'm going to expand. Like I don't even understand how he come out. Like this is the stuff he came out with when Harbaugh did the camps. And then every time somebody seems like I have an advantage, now he wants to come and yell until he can figure it out. Same Saban that complained about all the problems they have with the spread offense and things like this. It's just like he complains. It's like he's trying to put the jab out there until he can figure it out for himself. And he's not the right one to complain. It's like that's the part that I can't get out of it. Is like you just said it. Like he went from 7-6 to getting the number one, and it wasn't like Alabama was a destination place. Even at that point, like he had to do something to generate that interest at that point because it wasn't like he was coming out of a terrible situation in Miami. They were trying to get it together there, and he had to. There was something going on that allowed for him to take over some of those spots in that space. So it's not like he hasn't been playing in that, but it seems like every time someone appears to be thinking the way that Alabama thinks, like Alabama is like notorious for like how many intercollegiate sports do they actually have? I think they got almost the minimum. Like Ohio State has like 39 intercollegiate sports. The Big Ten schools have all this stuff. The SEC has come up with a formula. They have some of the lowest numbers, some of those institutions of NCAA sports. Like they are always on the edge of doing something. So I can't even. I mean, it's like you talk about the pot called the kettle black. I mean, it's like it didn't make no sense. And he's not saying anything. It's one of those things that it should be said, but you're not the right person to say it. We've had that conversation before. Sometimes we had that thing with Kyrie. It's the right thing to be said, but Kyrie, you're not the right one to say it. And this seems like the right thing right now. It's like maybe it's something should be said about that, but Saban's not the person to say it. He's not the person to sit up there and be able to say it. And so that's the part that I get out of. I'm just glad that Jimbo came back at him like, I want my corners. Jimbo like backing down. I want my and they know better to mess with Dion. Dion not that cat to mess with. And I also think it's realizing that these folks who have had power and over, particularly predominantly black recruiting population, and being able to have certain level of control, they don't have any control. These cats are making decisions on some different stuff. It's not just the money for some of these guys. I mean, even the stuff about Jackson State and that stuff is not it's not true. But they're not used to not having control, and they're finding in a world where it's not going to be about control. It's going to be about meaningful relationships. It's going to be about a lot of other stuff that they haven't had to do. Ain't nobody complaining about the salary he got, all the money he getting, the fact that they bought his house. Like nobody talking about the fact that they paid for his house. Like usually that's reserved for chancellors and presidents, right? But somebody paid up his mortgage. Like, come on, what you complaining about? What you complaining about? You got everything. So, but it feels like when it gets rough down there in the SEC, boy, they don't play. They eat their own. That's the one part I love about it. It's like you sitting there like there with the popcorn, like, it's gonna be good to watch them face up this week, this fall. The one thing, having said all that, he is raising some issues about the Wild Wild West, and the NCAA actually just made some another adjustments. I don't know if you know about this. They I put up in the chat. they took away the cap you have. So there was a cap on 25 in a
Yeah,
recruiting class.
25 per year.
Yeah, per year, which I think is a smart move given all this for both coaches and for the athletes. Um, Allowing them to recruit up to that 85. So if they have 30 open roster spots, they can fill that with new athletes, so new freshmen, or they can fill that with transfers. So I think there's some adjustments. I actually like that. I think it's good for the coaches and it's good for the athletes in terms of giving them a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to move around because so many of these doors are closing, and some of these rosters are because of the 25. People have some volatility with their rosters. They haven't been able to fill those rosters, and you got some teams that are well short of 85 because of this movement and have scholarships available that they can't lose, so they can't use. So I think the system is beginning to calibrate a little bit around this. Where do you see this going? I mean, you're working with young cats who are going to do visits and everything else. Like, the genie's out of the bottle, or what guardrails would you put in place?
You gotta limit the well, first of all, you gotta limit the time period in which players can transfer.
Yep.
Right? And that's one thing. Like in my opinion, you shouldn't be able to hit the transfer portal in the middle of a season. Um, that's one thing. Um, like I said, there should be different checkpoints within the off season. Which okay, now this is the deadline that you can hit the transfer portal. This is the deadline for you to come out. You know what I'm saying? Um, that way, guys, well, coaching staffs can like structure around. Okay, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need. Um, and that kind of stuff. Other than that, um, I don't know. I don't know where it is now as far as the number of times you can transfer because I know I think it might be you have one free transfer and then the next one you still have to sit the year or you just don't have to sit at all anymore.
Yeah, that's the part I wanted to get a sense of. Is it just one? Because it's hard to get a sense of the limit because this thing is such wild. Because you got the COVID stuff still mixed up in there. So it gives people a sense, and I think maybe things stabilize. I'm not sure if it's one or not, but definitely limiting. I think the timeline, and I also think on the other side, um, all of these institutions have to guarantee their scholarships, so no non-renewables, and I think that's you know I think to me that's an important piece around security, right? And so um, baking that part in because that also puts some institutional responsibility. If we're talking about this is really about being student athletes, um, so there locks in some protections. As these coaches try to get finicky with these transfer portals, that folks got to make sure they're taking care of folks' education as part of it. And so they're not just pushing these kids out. Is another thing that we got to really watch out for, which creates additional ripple effects with this. So I think there's a lot we're gonna learn over the next couple of years, man. It's good, but I love the pettiness. I'm okay with it. Uh, it was a slow season in college football. It's a slow part of it, nothing going on, and Saban. I know one thing Saban learned: there's no such thing as just a private conversation or a local conversation, or well, I think he needs to be back up on his technology. No room is safe. The fact that stuff went viral. Uh, he's got to remember. He's supposed to got to remember where he's at. Now he knew he was wrong because he's been trying to apologize, come backtrack, calling people, all those things. So that right there is a sign because he don't want them folks to let him know where he been hiding them bodies in the vacants. He been hiding them bodies in the vacants, and they was about to tell him. Tell him where Snoop and Chris was hiding them bodies. So he at that point he knew he overreached. He calling Dion and want to have private conversations. Dion's like, let's have. It was public remarks. So let's have some public conversations. So he's in a precarious position right now. And I don't think that also affects you in the recruiting space. So he gonna learn something. Oh, you gonna learn, Trey? That's something he gonna learn in a minute. All right, we moving off of college football. NBA basketball is heating up. I don't know which way these things are going. Um, And I think I got something figured out. I mean, last night they have Stephen A. Smith switching up on his Golden State Warriors before the Celtics played the Heat. Like, I don't know if the Warriors can beat, Boston, and then Boston goes out there and it looks like they're about to lay an egg. They basically did lay an egg and try to salvage it towards the end. We got injuries going on. I don't know what to make of what's happening right now in the NBA playoffs. Although it is exciting, you just don't know what's going on from game to game. What's your sense? Who do you think looks like they can get it done out of these teams?
Well, my team out west is the same team I've been had out west. Like y'all was trying to tell me about the Phoenix Suns. We never got to talk about them, but I've been with the Warriors since Christmas, and I'm sticking with them. James Wiseman, he never came back, but Looney's been playing very well. I've been very pleased with the way he's been playing. We didn't really get to have a preview show with this series, but what I was gonna say was Dallas's lack of a big man. I didn't think they needed to play Looney. I thought they could just play small and try out their so-called depth, their new death lineup, so to speak. But Looney's been balling. He had 20 and 10 last game. He's been playing some excellent defense. He's really held his own switching onto Luka and moving his feet and making shots difficult. So I like the way they're playing, and I think I'm pretty confident in them out west. And in the East, I'm still going with Boston. I think well, going again. My preview, like my first mind going into the series without watching any of the games, my first mind was that the Heat lacked shot creators. They have Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero, but other than them, I think the rest of their guys are going to need, because they need some more shot creating because their ball movement, the Miami Heat, they do a good job moving the ball, screening, cutting, doing that kind of stuff. They do a really good job of that. But I think my thought was with the physicality of the series, there are going to be times where you need somebody to create their own shot. And I didn't think they had enough, especially compared to what Boston was going to be able to give on the other end of the court. But um, going into the last game with the way Bam Adebayo was able to attack,
That's what I was going to say.
that
Ben,
brings
Ben? Yep.
that brings a different element because what we've seen in the past with Miami, Bam is just at the top of the key, doing the dribble handoff like the old school Princeton offense with Bill Russell and them at the top, playing that kind of role in offense. But when he's really attacking, he opens it up for the offense. And even if he's not really being as efficient as he was yesterday, he can still put pressure on the defense. And I think that brings something new to the series. But I'm going to stick with Boston. Um, if they're healthy, I think Jason Tatum. I don't think he's going to have too many games like he had yesterday. And I think he'll be able to turn it around. And when he plays at his best, I believe he is the best player in the series.
So yeah, I think a lot of it's going to depend on Bam being aggressive, and I think that's a shift in his mindset um, to know he's got to carry. I think the same thing with Jimmy. I don't know if them having enough creators is really the issue as much as the ones they have knowing they got to be aggressive early, and not waiting as long as they wait. And I think when they're aggressive early, they start to get Boston on the heels. I think it's going to be a great. I don't think it's. I think it's going to go. My sense is it'll go 7. But I think Boston might squeak it out. A lot of it's on, depends on how Marcus is. You know, he keeps leaving the court. Well, I think he's looking all right. But I think if they can keep Smart out there, I think he's a difference. I mean, he's a difference on both ends. The thing about Golden State that's interesting, and I've been saying this, loose with the ball. loose with the ball. I mean, Steph threw Luka opens up the game with this kind of no look across the court pass on a dime, right? Steph tried to throw the same pass, throws it in, looked like he threw it in the third row. Like Steph, and now it looks, I see Poole get loose with the ball. My worry, and I can see Kerr worries, is against a team like Boston, can't be loose with that ball. They're gonna capitalize on it, and they got too many dogs. And I don't. It's hard. I just don't understand it. There's sometimes when they just, as I used to tell my brother, no purpose passes. They do no purpose plays more than any team I've seen, and they can get away with a little bit with Dallas in ways I don't think they're gonna get away with. I don't think they get away with in Miami, but I know they're not gonna get away with in Boston. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm sitting myself like, what are you doing? And I know Kerr is saying the same thing I'm saying. What are you doing? It's like ill-advised. It's not getting your mixed heat check stuff. It's just they turn the ball over at a rate that they should not be turning the ball over. And I also think people are going to begin to continue to isolate Draymond on offense and really find ways to force him to take shots. And right now he is not interested. He'll take them every once in a
But
while.
he's good. But that's the annoying thing about Draymond because he'll do that and he won't even look at the rim. But when he takes a shot, it goes in. Every time he shoots the ball, it goes in. I'm like, come on, now. We
I'm
saw
with
the
you.
Olympics.
He just I have never he Draymond went from being Draymond to Dennis Rodman, like not even looking at the basket. It's like when did you decide you could, like 4 years ago, 5 years, you couldn't tell Draymond he couldn't score. Like he wasn't gonna force anything, but you weren't gonna like act like he was gonna be an offensive liability. Like that was one thing you weren't gonna tell Draymond to do. And all of a sudden he became Dennis Rodman. And it's just like I don't. You're right. I mean, I haven't figured out why he's, because he don't have teammates like that who look at him like don't shoot. Like they're looking at him like shoot. Uh, so those things I think can come up to haunt him. Obviously they got shooting all over the court. They got a lot of stuff, but they're ill advised. I mean, I watch them, the turnovers, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing? And I know Steve Kerr is saying the same thing. Take care of the ball. It's the most precious thing you can have. And with each round, turnovers matter. And take care of that ball matter. And you know, uh what his Steph said, that's just what I do. Come on, man. Come on. That's gonna come back to bite you against a team like Boston. You can probably get away with a little bit with Dallas, but I don't think this Dallas series is over. All Golden State did was do what they're supposed to do. They won 2 games at home, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight with it. I'm not going. Because we all said that in the last series with Luka, and Luka put on that Don hat and did some stuff, and Jason Kidd made some adjustmts. The problem he's not going to have is he can't just isolate on Steph. Jordan Poole is a problem, and so Milwaukee's own is a problem over there. His confidence at an all time high in a way. But we'll see how this thing falls out. Um, you know, it's hard to put your finger on it, man. It's hard to figure out who. It's like nobody wants to take it right now. Nobody wants to take it, and it's like Gold State looks good. Boston looks like they look good from game to game. So we'll see how all this shakes out. I think it's going to be a great finals once it all comes together. But I have no idea what some of these teams are doing right now. I don't know what their identity is. As soon as I say Jason Tatum, I'm gonna put my chips in you. Y'all getting blown out at the crib. It's just like, come on. I want to see somebody be consistent in a way. But we'll see how that all shakes
No,
out.
I know what the Warriors' identity is. It just works sometimes and it don't work some other times.
Would you say that again,
I
Frank?
said I know what I said. I know what the Warriors' identity is. They just and some days it works and some days it doesn't. Same thing with Dallas. Dallas is gonna live and die by the three ball. Some days Reggie Bullock gonna go 7 for some. He gonna go 5 for 7. Some days he gonna go 1 for 6. And they gonna win when he goes 5 for 7. They gonna lose if he go 1 for 6.
And that's it.
Yeah,
And you know, to me, I'm not the kind of person that would just want to put my season on that kind of thinking. But that's how these coaches are going today. Live and die by random analytics all you want, and get going. We also saw the draft get shake out a little bit here. We got Orlando at the top of it. We got a lot of different. We got some players up in here.
Mhm.
It's early on, but how did you when you looked at the draft? What are some of the things that kind of came up? Who are you kind of excited to see what they might do with their draft picks?
Well, as far as the Pistons,
Yeah.
I'm happy where we fell, but if I'm Orlando, I'm going in a different direction than most people because I think Orlando should go Paolo Bancaro just because of the way their roster is set up. They have Franz Wagner. They have Mo Bamba, even though he is going to be a free agent, but that's somebody that they can still try to re-sign. And that someday Jonathan Isaac can return to the court. But with that, but saying that, I list a lot of long, athletic, defensive-minded guys. You have Jalen Suggs, which is another hard-nosed defensive guy. He can play make, but right now you need a go-to scorer. And if I need a go-to scorer out of these guys, my pick is Paolo Bancaro. I like the idea of Jabari Smith there, but I think that, in my opinion, I think Paolo Bancaro is just a little bit better of a shot creator. I think he creates a shot a little better than Jabari Smith does. He creates more separation, in my opinion, and and like I said, who got number two? I think number two was OKC. OKC is the perfect Chet Holmgren destination. They love their long, athletic guys, and he's both. Chet Holmgren is both of those. He's skilled. He has skill that you rarely see. You never see really out of somebody at that size. He can shoot the ball. He can put it on the floor. He can push the ball in transition. He has nice footwork. He has a nice like spin move. He has a lot in his arsenal. And I think he'll be great for Oklahoma City. Number three, we have the Rockets. Jabari Smith is a great, really, really great move for them. Jabari Smith. You have the guards. You got KPJ. You have Jalen Green, and you have Josh Christopher. Explosive, athletic. You add another guy that's longer. He's also athletic. He can play some defense. That's really what they need, and that's gonna be a tough team to play against. They're gonna be a young squad, but they're gonna really test you with their athleticism. They're gonna play really hard, and that's gonna be a really good team going forward. Sacramento Kings. Um, you have a couple ways you can pivot. You have De'Aaron Fox, you have Davion Mitchell, and you have Domantas Sabonis. So with that core of the team, you already have two really good guards and a big that can facilitate. You can either go wing here, or you can go with a center because Sabonis he isn't really a rim protector, but if you're going to put a big next to him, that big probably should be able to shoot, from the outside. But in my opinion, at four, I think Keegan Murray is he's a pretty he's a pretty good option there. He's 6'8". He can score the basketball. He's a pretty good defender as well. I think he's good for him. But I'm just gonna go through the top five, and that's it. No, I'm not gonna go through all 30 teams. But number five, Detroit Pistons. I've been saying this for the last I'll say since January, February. I've been saying even if they have the number one pick, I'll pick Jaden Ivey. So I'm happy at five because unless I don't really see any team before us picking Ivy. So
Well,
I'm happy where we at.
Yahoo was some other folks looking at Ivy going to Sacramento. I'm like, they already have two guards.
Why?
Why would Sacramento take
That
Ivy?
even makes sense.
Like that don't even that sound that don't, like that sound like That sounds like when the Lions took 3 receivers. It's like you don't need no more. You got your identity in the backcourt. You need some other. Uh, Now Shaden Sharp,
He's
I haven't
interesting.
really seen him. I saw a couple videos on
Well, he
him.
played in high school. He didn't
Yeah,
play.
and they're giving him a lot of love, but I don't know if I would get him over some of these other players. And maybe he's
Well,
that talented. I watched him play; he's talented. But
the measurables are off the charts. He's six.
yeah,
He's a 6'6" shooting guard.
yeah,
He has a 7 foot wingspan, over 7 foot wingspan. He jumps out the gym. I think they see he has like a mid 40s vertical. So like he really, and it shows up on in his tape. He really gets up off the ground.
yeah,
The shoot the ball is a smooth game.
yeah.
But every time I watch him, he reminds me so much of Swaggy P, Nick Young, that
That's
I
I'm
can't
glad.
get it out of my mind.
There you go. I was like, why don't I feel? I'm like, there's something missing here, and I'm not taking him over Keegan. I'm not taking him over Johnny Davis. I'm not taking him over some of these other cats. Ivy. So, but people, you know, people got it going. Paulo is interesting because there are times where he just, and I know they talked about this before the tournament. He tried to. It's like there's times where I feel like he I'm trying to check his dog meter, man. And we talked about this before the tournament with Duke. And like I think he can be a better defender. There's something about him that you know maybe I'm not buying into, but I
I
think his
disagree
talent
though
is
with dog. I think, like you said, yeah, he can be a better defender. But we saw in that North Carolina game, in the final, was it the final four? Yeah, it was the final four, where for that 8 minute stretch at the end of the game, 7 minute, 8 minute stretch, he was trying to put Duke on his back. Like he was saying, you know
yeah.
what, I'm not
I saw
losing
him
this.
waking up. All right, you're right. I saw him waking up because I had not at that point. I was like, I was like, there's something he was just, I couldn't quite put my finger on it with him. In ways that, he's talented, but I don't know if I want to take him um over Jabari Smith. Jabari got dog in him, man. Jabari got dog in him, man. He be blocking shots, shooting Jay. I don't know. I don't know if I take him over him, but you say you take him over him. You need some dog over there in Orlando. Like Jabari feel like he got dog, man.
Like, Jalen's a dog.
Yeah, but that give you 2 dogs. I'd rather have 2 dogs
Yeah.
when I'm trying to make the. You see what you see Miami. You see Boston. As Big Perk would say, them goons. You don't want you got to match them goons. You need somebody who's gonna match them goons over there where you playing. There's some goons over there. Jabari gonna show up for them goons. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's the piece. You need not just one goon. You need 2 goons over there in where you playing. So that would be the thing I would look at. Like I got some qualitative aspects I'm looking at. I'm not just looking at the numbers and the measurables. I got to get a sense of. I'm interviewing both of them, and I'm looking at them like, are they gonna stand up to Marcus Smart? Are they gonna stand up to Butler? Are they gonna stand up to them? How many times a year they got to play them? You know, are they gonna get there early? Let them know they arrived. Like I, Suggs, I said, okay, Suggs play some football. You're not gonna punk him. Like he got some of that in him. I just don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe it's I don't know. So you gonna convince me, man. You gonna convince me. Uh, that was decide between those 2 players. Who you think got that dog? And you're right. In that game, something came out of him. But there's that moment. What moment that get me is like Coach K, the biggest moment with everybody in the building. You got to send him out, and you let these cats come in here, your rivals, and clown you. I don't know, man. That was a moment. That was a moment.
But you also saw Paolo show up against Gonzaga in the beginning of the year in that showcase
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
took that
he
matchup
got
with
it,
Chet
man.
Clifton.
You making a case for it, but I just don't know if I'll take him over Jabari on that. But hey, I like Johnny Davis to the Pistons. you and I talked about it.
I've been on that train forever, but I
You
don't
know,
know if
you and I talked about it. You know, as Game Changer said, that might be a little too high. I think when you have 5, you're trying to find the best player that's going to match what you're trying to get.
you know what changed my mind about it wasn't even anything Johnny Davis did, but every time I watched the Sixers and Brooklyn, well, 3 teams, the Sixers, Brooklyn, and Dallas. I watched them play, and what do these 3 teams have in common? They have big playmakers, right? You have Luka Doncic, you
Yeah, I
have
like
James
your
Harden.
Ivy pick, man. You got me on that. I mean,
Yeah, you have
I
Luka.
had been sleeping on
No,
Ivy a
no,
little bit. And I
I'm
watched.
saying this. No,
Go
I
ahead.
was trying to set the scene there. They got
Okay.
big playmakers. You got Luka, Luka, you got James Harden, and you got Kevin
Mm.
Durant. But the off ball guy next to them, you have Tyrese Maxey,
Mm-hmm.
you have Brunson, and you have Kyrie. And really, what made this hatch in my mind was watching the Sixers when the James Harden trade went down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, seeing the way that really unlocked Tyrese Maxey as an off ball player, the way he could play downhill,
Mm-hmm.
and he can just catch like when you have a superstar at the point, like a James Harden, like a Luca, you know, KD. KD's not at the point, but he handles the ball. So when they draw a lot of attention. Like you gotta load the court. You gotta bring the extra guy over. So as soon as you make that swing, Maxi can go right away. You know what I'm saying? And this speed really shines. And every time I watch them play, it'll be like, man, I think Ivy's the perfect guy to play with Cade. And every time I watch the play, that thought came to my mind. And I think that's the way you get the best out of both players. I think Ivy will be at his best because when people question his playmaking, they say, "Well, can he play the one or is he only an off guard?" You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And with the Pistons, they say, we lack a little bit of athleticism. We could use that. So I think that move really brings the best on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got you're making some good, some great insight on this. Uh, it's like I think for the Pistons and Orlando, if they're gonna move on that trajectory like Memphis, this pick is very important. Getting the kind of guy. This pick should reflect the culture that you're going,
Yeah,
right, and what you're trying to do, because you got some pieces there in place, and now you're trying to add that next piece, and that should be able to define who you are for like the next 7 years,
right.
given where you
And
are right now, right?
yeah, and
The
there's been talk about Jeremy Grant
Yeah,
and possibly since the Trailblazers pick fell lower
yeah.
than people expected to that 7th overall pick. Um, there's been speculation that maybe there would be a deal that might happen between Portland and Detroit for the 7th pick and possibly Jeremy Grant, Killian Hayes, maybe some other pieces in there. If you were to make a trade like that for number 7, now that you have Ivy, what would be the next move for you?
Hmm. Man, I'm trying to. So you get Ivy and you get that 7th pick. Wow. Then I might come back. I might come back to Davis, or I might, or maybe like the pick you talked about, Mark Williams. Remember you had that conversation about Mark
Oh yeah,
Williams.
yep.
You know,
That was my guy really early on in the process, Martins.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm going back because you mentioned it. You know. Again, the culture. Like now, I'm looking like okay, we get back to this Pistons like flavor. Okay, I got Ivy who got dog in him. You know, he got the can't trust the coach of the year, but he got dog in him, right? That cat puts buckets up and makes some things happen. He got that in him. And if you were to add Johnny in there with them, like now you got you a core of some cats who get after it. Like you ain't got to talk to them about doing what they gonna do because they coming to work to win, right? But you also Mark Williams. That seems like that kind of guy. You got a big. Now you got this 7-footer
with
who
7'7" wingspan.
yeah, now you got a cat like that going with it. Now you cook it. Now I feel it. Now, uh you know, now the mic is getting hot. You know how they got the best intro in the
Mhm.
league over there. They got Mason in the morning. Now Mason, I don't even know what Mason gonna come up with Mark Williams when he introduced him. You know, like he used to do with Ben Wallace. Now you and I gotta go get some. We got to get our press passes and get over there to the arena. We got to do at least 2 or 3 games over there. But if he's still there, I go Mark if I get him.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna throw another curveball at you. So there's another guy at Duke. I know I keep going back to Duke, but
Yeah,
AJ
them
Griffin.
Duke, them Dukes, they hot, they cold, but they getting hotter now. They get
True,
more
but
consistent
no,
now.
but are you familiar with AJ Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
Adrian
Yep.
Griffin's son, AJ
Yep.
Griffin. Man, if I'm confident that I can land either DeAndre Ayton, Mo Bamba, or a what was my guy from the Mitchell Robinson
Mm-hmm.
in free agency. If I could get one of those three in free agency to play the 5 and be my rim protector, I'm taking a hard look at AJ Griffin um, at number 7 because he's a 6'6" guy, really
Mm-hmm.
long arms, defends, and he can hit the 3 ball as well. So now you got Cade, Ivy, Griffin, Sadiq Bey, and that Aiton. Man, no, that's a 5. That's a 5 you can
Yep.
grow with.
Yep.
But yeah, that's just food for thought.
But
But
the
I like
move
the Mark
like
Williams
gives
pick.
them a lot of flexibility, right? It allows you to build a core around them. In a way, yeah. That would be. It's gonna be exciting to see how these moves get made.
Yeah,
And
so
it's
speaking of the Grizzlies, I can see AJ Griffin playing that Desmond Bain role. Like
mm,
he's a 45% 3-point shooter at Duke. And yeah, he can really shoot the ball and he can defend. You know what I'm saying? He's athletic. So um that's a guy I look at.
yeah, and I think one of our next shows because we know a lot of value happens in that second round, and I think there's a lot of great second round talent. I think we try to as we get closer to it, we get game changer on here with us. There's a lot of talent out there. So one thing you can say that you can go get some folks um, in that second round who can put some stuff together. So I look forward to talking about this draft. One of the things we got to get when I get my act together, we got to get us out to Vegas for summer league. And get come. We have to come out there old school with the pencil and the pad. We ain't coming out with nothing. We gonna them old school Hubie Brown notes, and then see what's going on. But I know they got the combines going and stuff like that going as well. So this is an exciting part of the year. Before we get to the other side and kind of wrap some of this stuff up, let's talk about boxing, man. There's a lot going on in the boxing, man. We got Romero and Tank Davis going at Rolly coming out here like it's 1993. He got I would say 1989 with the chain. He got the big Rolly chain. He got some power, a little awkward kind of guy. They know each other from being over there in Mayweather's gym. Looking at each other sideways. They probably I don't know if they got in the doghouse a little bit doing this stuff, but Tank done took his camp to Miami away from everybody. Tank got his entourage tight. This one feels like it's got some fireworks written all over it. For people who don't know, they might know Tank Davis, but with Rolly, man, I mean, what makes this kid, potential tough fight for Tank?
Nothing. This is a
I gave you the
3-round.
big build up, and you just like
It's a 3-4 round fight. Tank gonna get him out of there quick, expeditiously. Um,
he said expeditiously.
man, Rolly,
Oh
he's
man.
big for the division. He's strong. He hits hard, but he can't box. You look, go any boxing fan, go look at his media workout. I mean, man, this dude, he getting stretched. And as far as the Tank Davis in Miami thing, he trained in Miami for his last fight. He was training at House of Athlete. Um,
But I feel like
Brandon
he's
Marshall-
getting. I feel like he's maturing. Like
yeah,
with
he
Tank
is.
early on, I feel like he's like his focus, everything that I think Mayweather wanted, he's finding his pathway to it. Like he sense like he's at peace. You sense that? Like like
Yeah,
he's like he sense like he's at peace. Whereas 2 or 3 years ago,
well,
I
he's
was
older
like
now.
worried about it. Right when he was struggling with weight and he was out there, I was like, don't go bro, don't go the Broner way, don't go the Broner way. But then he just like locked in. And he wants to just do damage, like boxing. Like he find it feels like he's finding that Mayweather. This is what I do. He out there running in that heat. He out there doing his thing. But so you say this is going to get out there expeditiously. Man,
This
I
is
thought
gonna
you
be
could get
short work.
some risks. I was like, this cat look like he can fight now. He can put some hands on people.
No,
Okay, okay,
I'm
all
not
right.
buying it. I'm not buying it.
I see they got a new boogeyman from Kazakhstan. It
Oh,
ain't Triple G.
Janabek.
What's my man's name from Kazakhstan or
His
whatever he is?
name is Janabek. His last name is Janabek, and he called out Triple G after the fight. He said Triple G is a sellout for talking about Mexican style. I was like, dang,
But
he
then
going at it like that.
but he also gave him some of that respectful thing. I'm looking. He said he can. Basically, he kind of said like you can either leave the division so we don't have to fight because I plan on sweeping out all the belts. He basically said something like that. He tried to pay like we try to pay some homage, but if you're gonna stay here, you're getting beat up like everybody else. This guy the uppercut he knocked the cat out with. I was like, oh my goodness. Now I know this guy was third. You know how they do the rankings, so he was
Mhm.
third ranked from England and all that stuff. But sometimes you see somebody, somebody can fight. He the boogeyman. He truly is the boogeyman. And I'm down with that cousin style, whatever he want to call it. That's a style. He ain't messing around. And he looked. I ain't never seen a cat in a stare down. He looked through your soul. You see him in the stare down like he ain't messing around. And then he went and saw out Buddy McGirt. He chose Buddy, and Buddy's like, ain't nobody mess with him. What do you think? Can he mess with them Charlos? Can he mess? Can he put paws on them like them Charlos? Like
Well,
Texas
the
Texas
thing
taking
is,
over them divisions.
now the thing with Charlo, well, if he fought Charlo, it'd be the bigger Charlo. But
Yeah.
think about Jamal Charlo. I think he has problems with southpaws. He struggles with
Mm,
southpaws. So I think Janabek give him a lot of problems. But
mm.
at the end of the day, I think I think Charlo probably edge it out, but it's not going to be an easy fight. That's for sure. And
Ain't
I think
nobody.
Charles going to move up to 68. I think Charles going to end up moving up to 68, and Jamel's going to end up moving up. That's what I think is going to end up happening.
Mm.
But for Jamal, he got to do something. He not fighting no names. Triple G won't fight. Triple G been ducking him since I was going to Berkeley College of Music 6, 7
And
years ago.
that's been a minute.
And when Abel Sanchez was a trainer talking about black fighters don't sell, um, man, Canelo been ducking him since Jermell had braids. Um, he can if you got to fight, you got to do something. And I don't know if Janabek and Charlo is necessarily a big fight, but hey, it's better than the fight we getting next. Charlo fighting Magic Selecki, and I think Janabek would be a good step, but I think Charlo got PBC problems. I think Benavidez is the guy he needs to see because we saw Benavidez
Don't
yesterday.
nobody want to see
He is
Benavidez,
a
man.
problem.
Don't
Nah,
nobody want to see
nobody.
him.
Nope.
I was watching it last night. I'm like, somebody had to call the police the way he beating him around the ring. Like, this is beyond boxing. This is assault and battery. I mean, and now he focused. Like, he came in shape because usually he got a little baby fat on him. That body he had last night, he came in like 2 pounds.
You see what you see what he weighed in at?
Did he weigh in two
He was
pounds
like,
under? Yeah,
yeah, he was like 166 something. I was like, oh,
oh,
dude,
oh,
he's
you knew it was some
serious.
problems.
He's serious.
He's serious. I mean, his jab hurting people. That he putting paws on you, and he got some hand speed that people don't give him credit for. Folks are gonna be leaving the division. No, nobody want none of that. Nobody want that, man.
Canelo don't want none of that. Canelo,
Nah,
he gonna have
Canelo
to
don't want
come.
none of that.
He gonna have to come back down because
But I
I
think
don't think he
Canelo boxed
can
in now.
football.
There's nowhere to run.
Yeah, nowhere to run.
There's nowhere to run now. He boxed. Yeah. He might get one more Triple G fight out before he got to either go up and see the boogeyman again.
No, he might get the franchise title. He might get the.
Oh, that's right. They give that's his. We call that the new boxing escape clause. He
Oh,
get a new escape clause. You get the. That's when they know they're trying to hide you right now. They're trying to hide you.
yeah,
So we've had some big fights here. Like, you've been paying attention. Like, help the people understand what's happening right in boxing. We've had some.
man, boxing's
We've
on.
had some great stuff on the women's side, but we had some. But on the men's side, we've had enough. The stuff is starting to shake out right now.
Yeah, boxing's on fire. I mean, last few weeks we had Charlo fought last week.
Yep.
Charlo became undisputed at 154. Couple weeks before that, Earl Spence fought. You know what I'm saying? Couple weeks before that, Shakur Stevenson fought. And the week of Cinco de Mayo, Canelo fought. Canelo and not Benavidez. Canelo and Bivol fought. That was a good fight. We've just been on a really good run of fights. We're gonna see Tank and Rolly next week. It's gonna be a good show. I'll just put it that way. We gonna get a highlight knockout, and I think that should be worth the pay per view money. Just to watch a highlight reel execution style knockout.
You give your boy now. Your boy Rolly got some power, doesn't he?
He does, but you got to be able to land something, and he ain't got no defense.
Okay. Okay. Like,
Yeah,
he talking like he knows something.
he better. He gonna walk in there like Ricardo Mayorga, and when you in there like Mayorga, one or two things gonna happen. He gonna go in there like he did with Vernon Forrest. I think it was Vernon Forrest where he came in, he styled on him. It was like, wait, Mayorga can fight, or he could go in there like he did with Oscar, and it's gonna be a long night or a short night. And I think the latter is gonna happen today because we saw in that sparring session from good 5 years ago, way back in the day, when Rolly was putting hands on Ryan Garcia. That was the other side of Ricardo Mayorga, but man, no, I think the Tank fight. I think Tank gonna make easy work of Rolly. I think he should. If Tank is the guy we think he is, Tank should make easy work out of Rolly Romero.
I mean, Tank is Tank. He got some highlight knockouts now. You come in here slipping and getting wild. That uppercut is devastating. He'll hit you with some punches you don't see. And they don't call him Tank for nothing. So are we closer to the Crawford and deal happened with the mega fight?
Man, I hope so. It sounds like it's going to happen. Crawford says it's going to happen this year. Spence says it's going to happen this year.
Okay.
But
So
and,
we got we,
and
we, we got we got one of your favorite fighters trying to go to fight halfway around the world, and his daddy can't come with him. Like, so
oh, that's
explain
the
to the
that's
people.
the fight I forgot about. We got that fight
Yes,
coming up
yes, we
in
got to talk
June
about that. You and I talked about it on the phone.
2 weeks
Now
from now.
explain to people what's going on with Devin Haney in that situation.
All right, so the country Australia has a rule. They have a law that anybody that has served over a year in prison cannot enter Australia. Um, I don't know how new this rule is, but Mike Tyson's been going in there. He's been I think he got banned from Australia sometime last year. He got banned from Australia. I think it might have happened somewhere around that time, but Yeah, I guess it's not just Bill Haney, but like Eminem. I think they said Eminem. They're seeing if he could go over there. So I did a little research. But what's going on with this situation is,
Now,
Bill
wasn't
Haney. Bill Haney.
Australia where they sent criminals?
That's
Given
where it
that we already
started
had
off.
indigenous people there, Australia was
Yeah,
what the Australia was like in its colonization sent criminals
that's the that's the irony of it all. But
of
what's
it
going
all.
on? But what's going on is Bill Haney, which is the father and trainer
Yeah.
of Devin Haney, he had a drug conviction from 1992. He has not been convicted of a crime since then, but 30 years ago from today, 1992, he was convicted. So he would not be able, as of now, if nothing changes, if um, he can't get some kind of appeal done, he will not be able to go to Australia for the fight. He will not be able to be in the corner for the fight. And that same with Ben Davidson. I don't know what's going on with Ben Davidson, but I guess he can't enter Australia either. And he will not be. And he's been working with Devin Haney as well, but he can't be in Australia for the fight. So So the person that will be traveling with Devin Haney and will be in his corner for the fight is going to be Yoel Judah. And what's significant about this is Yoel Judah is Zab Judah's dad, and we trained him throughout his career. And Zab Judah is the godfather of Devin Haney. So they're familiar with each other. Yoel Judah, he's been in the gym with Devin Haney for years. You know, he's known since he was a child, so he knows the way he fights. He knows the game plan. He knows, he knows how to make adjustments. He's been in the heat of big
Yeah.
fights in the past, so I think he'll be in good hands. But at the same time,
And I'm surprised
this is a
Yoel didn't
less
get
than
charged.
ideal situation.
I'm surprised Yoel didn't get charged for that big fight they had with the Mayweather camp back in the Thomas and Mack when I was in the arena back in the day. I was like, I know they got Roger because he was in violation. I'm surprised they didn't get I'm surprised he ain't got a charge on his record. Maybe he only stayed in jail for, if they did jail him, it probably was 10 days. So he didn't get
Yeah,
he didn't get no year violation because that was a brawl. Back in the day when Mayweather and Zab had that fight and it
2002.
broke out. Yeah, they thought
Yeah,
Zab was hitting him low, and and Roger and them got to putting hands on each other. So you also know he brings some folks with him. You ain't gonna be able to mess with him. And then
no,
you said the rematch is also going to be there, right? If the
yeah,
if,
and the
if
contract. This was a sticking point, but in the contract, the rematch, it's a one sided rematch clause, right? So if George Kambosos wins, there will be no rematch. But if Devin Haney wins, he has to win twice in Australia. And they had a history of some questionable judging. So yeah, he's gonna have to win. He's gonna have to win clean. He's gonna have to win wide, or he's gonna have to knock him out, pretty much, to
it,
come home with a victory.
and this is what's amazing for fighters like Haney, where everybody's avoiding. This is the link they got to go to. They got to go through the fire. It was like they got to go through the fire,
Yeah,
and they got to go through this to get to the other side. And he should have just bought two. I bet you he bought two tickets. I'm coming back. I'm gonna whoop you here. I might just stay here. So I might just stay here, and then I'm coming back.
but
I mean,
that's another thing because you got to be careful because
yeah,
you never know what they'll try to do over there. They might try to poison them. They might try to
yeah.
plant some drugs on them. They might try to be like, they might try to plant some PEDs and say, if he win the fight, they'd be like, oh, he pop hot for
Yep.
HGH or whatever.
You can't trust anything when they're trying to do all
No,
this dirty stuff. My goodness.
they trust nothing.
Yeah, this stuff was already planned ahead of time. That's boxing, boy. It's down low and dirty. That's okay. We'll go for that. We all there all day. And we know that you might there's a lot going on in the sports world, man. It's just good to be here on the block. Darnell and I are gonna try and get a rhythm. It's not him. He always ready to go. It's me. This is why we call some real sports guys, because we got day jobs
Yeah,
and our lives get crazy. But it's good to be here. We just wanted to get on and just connect with the people and talk about things. We're gonna start zeroing in. It's gonna be summer months. We got a lot going on, and get ready for a lot of off-season stuff with the NFL and stuff like that. So we'll be working hard and connecting. Please go to
I
Real
said
Sports
off
Guys,
season with us too.
huh?
I said off season stuff with us too. We got his cap
Yeah,
season is upon us
that's
almost.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So we got all kinds of stuff going on, and so but we want y'all to check us out. Go to realsportsguys.com. Check us out. Check out One Mic. I'm gonna regroup and try and get some of the Wu Tang. We like the Wu Tang Clan of sports radio, so we're gonna get some of these other cats back. Some of the guys who was with us a year ago, we're gonna try and get them back on with us and keep pushing the work forward. Just being part of the journey. So thank you again for being with us, um, hanging with us here on the block. Because the block is hot right now. A lot going on in the sports world, and we look forward to coming back in the building and being here with you again for our next episode. Until next time, this is DeVon. This is man Darnell. Check him out on social media and as well, and we'll see y'all next time on the corner on the block.